Namaste, angels. Thank you for joining, liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel, for being with me here now. And those of you who are with me for the premiere, I look forward to chatting it up with you guys. There's a lot going on this week. One of my favorite holidays or feast days on the Hebrew calendar, like a celebration of love and rebirth and soulmates, and looking forward to telling you guys about that. Those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, we've talked about it before, and enjoyed little stories and videos. And maybe I'll try to find some of the videos that I did in the past and link them, because I did that story of Esther, I believe it was, with the tambourine, all about the divine feminine and being in her full power and leading others. Really, really awesome stuff. So it should be a good week. There's a lot going on, a lot of positive things, much of which occurs either on the 11th or on the 15th of August. So let's get into some of what those are going to be, beginning with the celestial calendar. And August 11th at 9:37 a.m., Jupiter goes direct. Also on August 11th at 3:45 p.m., Mercury re-enters Leo. At 10:27 p.m., Uranus goes retrograde. And then moving to the 15th at 8:29 a.m., the full moon in Aquarius. I'll do a separate video for that. 22 degrees Aquarius, so master number 22, 1304, 1111, which is pretty cool. And another 6 is thrown in there. It's 22 degrees 24. So of course, August 15, the 15 is a 6 in itself. 6 is a date that represents, or number rather, that represents Mary and Mother in general, all her vibrations, and also love and balance and equity. It's just an awesome number. And so there'll be a lot of 6 this week from what I can see and feel. I should have pulled out my numerology deck, but maybe we'll see some in the tarot cards. 6s come up, and or 13s, 4s, 11s. I'll talk in a little bit more detail in a second about some of those transits from the celestial calendar, but let me just go to, while I'm talking about 6, let me go to August 15th on the Christian calendar and let you guys know that is the feast day of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Also on the 15th into the 16th, because like Hebrew feast days begin at after sundown on one date and all day the next day. So this year, the 15th of Av happens to really fall on the 15th of August, the 15th and 16th, which is pretty cool. And that is the feast day of love and rebirth that I'm going to talk to you guys about in a second. So let's go to first Jupiter Direct, since that's the first item. And for that, I went to www.tarot.com. They did an article on January 2nd of this year by Maria Di Simone, an astrologer. And she's going to talk about Jupiter. Jupiter, like every planet, flows in and out of direct retrograde motion. While certain planets, Mercury, Venus, or Mars, tend to disrupt our vibe here on Earth with great fanfare when out of phase, Jupiter has a more subtle effect. Still, it can be just as potent, as the energy of this giant ball of blessings turns inward for the duration of the retrograde, which is about 4 months per year. I see this as an extra special gift. Even if you feel teased by the universe, if used correctly, the Jupiter retrograde months can help you to solidify your inner conviction, faith, and optimism for a brighter world and future, both personally and collectively. We all get to cash in on this amazing gift as soon as Jupiter turns direct. Lucky us. Use Jupiter Direct's power wisely. Here's an analogy that might help you to understand the significance of Jupiter's power when he turns direct on August 11, 2019, and how to make sure that you use it wisely. Think of Jupiter as your favorite cupcake. You haven't had this treat in ages, and the craving, when you see the cupcake in front of you, is intense. You know that if only you could take a bite out of it, every inch of you would fill with joy. This cupcake catches your eye as you walk past the bakery because there are dozens displayed sumptuously in the window. Your mouth begins to water and you feel yourself turning toward the door to enter the bakery. You simply must indulge. But then your imminent the screen just went whoop. But then your imminent cupcake heaven is interrupted when your hand twists to open the door and is met with resistance. It's locked. When it's locked, of course, Jupiter is retrograde. You see the cupcakes displayed in the window, but all you can do is press your nose against the glass and dream about them. This initial disappointment forces you to turn the Jupiter energy inward. You meditate about how much better you and the world might be once you can enjoy the yummy delicious treat. Days turn into weeks and the bakery never opens. You discover that the owners took an extended vacation to the Mediterranean and there are no more cupcakes to gawk at in the window, but there they remain tattooed inside your mind's eye. Make your own cupcakes. Jupiter retrograde begins to work his magic when your vision becomes so intense for that cupcake that you consider whether you have the capacity to make them yourself. Do you? You sit and wonder. As you look deep within for the answers, the point of Jupiter retrograde, you finally realize that yes, you believe enough in yourself to at least try. You have faith. You spend another few weeks in solitude, experimenting with ingredients and recipes until you hit the jackpot. When the day finally arrives, you're staring at luscious cupcakes made in your very own kitchen with your bare hands and positive mind. The moment is pure heaven. Tasting those cupcakes is the most incredible gift you've ever given yourself. That day, Jupiter turns direct. You pass by the bakery later that afternoon and notice that the cupcakes have filled the window again. They're open! But your craving is gone. Still, you want to see what happens if you open the door. Much to your delight, you glide right into the store and the owner greets you with a wide smile. Would you like to sample one of our signature cupcakes? You consider for a moment and then decline. Thank you so much, but I've had my fill. While you were away, I had such a craving for your cupcakes that I decided to create my own recipe. I must say they are incredible. Everyone who has tasted them says they're the best they ever had. The store owner's eyes twinkle with interest. You don't say. Well, I have a proposition for you, my friend. Would you like to sell me the recipe for your amazing cupcake? We've been looking for something new and tasty to offer our customers. Your wheels begin to turn and you accept the offer. Within a month of Jupiter turning direct, your cupcakes are a bestseller. You develop new recipes that continue to please even the most discriminating cupcake palate. Sales at the bakery have doubled. The owner offers to make you a partner and you accept. You remember the darker months when Jupiter was retrograde and all you wanted was a cupcake that seemed out of reach. You recall how just as soon as you started to have faith in yourself and your inner gifts, everything began to fall into place. The answers were inside you all along. You just had to believe. Life is good, my friends. Life is very good. After all, Jupiter is finally direct. So go ahead, have your cupcake and eat it too. That was a cute analogy to explain how it feels for Jupiter to go direct. So also on that same day, as I just mentioned, Uranus enters retrograde, which is sort of the opposite. But Uranus in retrograde, from my perspective, what I've felt and seen about it is going to be sort of like the opposite. It's going to, yes, force us to make changes and force us to accept changes that are forced upon us, but the changes are positive. So it might be something abrupt that comes in, sort of night of air, because Uranus is a planet that rules an air sign, Aquarius. Might be something that comes in very, very quickly and too fast for us to stop and think. And that can be scary maybe, but then it's sort of like calming almost immediately because you realize that the change that took effect was a good one for you. I'll let somebody else explain it more eloquently. Let's see what's in here. But that's what I've seen and felt about Uranus retrograde. So I also went to www.tarot.com for this one, an article that they wrote on August 9th, which is today, actually. Uranus retrograde. Revolution starts from within as radical Uranus moves backward. This is by the tarot.com staff. Personal freedom is what it's all about as rebel planet Uranus moves retrograde from August 11th, 2019 to January 11th, 2020. Now is the time to look at life from a fresh perspective. Toss out the old ways of doing things and create a whole new world from the inside out. Sound like a lot to take on? Well, don't be intimidated. Just remember to take baby steps over the next few months. After 7 years in Aries, Uranus entered Taurus, slid back into Aries, and then moved back into Taurus again. Needless to say, we've been under a profound period of upheaval. Basically, Uranus retrograde wants us to get real. It's time to face our fears and change the things that aren't working so that we can become who we really want to be. This is true on both a personal and global scale. If you're in a bad relationship, stuck in a job you don't like, living in a place that doesn't feel right, or spending time with the wrong people, Uranus will alert you to this in the coming months. The realization may dawn on you slowly, and it may involve an uncomfortable period of anxiety, right? That's when we feel speedy. That's that night of air stuff I was talking about. But when you do have those epiphanies, pay attention and make the needed changes. Break up, make up, change jobs, move, or do whatever it is you need to do to shake it up and move on to something better. In other words, get real about what you want. Be brave and embrace your freedom to go after it. It's the way to happiness. And that is Uranus retrograde. The other transit is the full moon, right, in Aquarius. So I'll do a separate video for that. And that's it for this week on the celestial calendar. So let's talk about the Assumption of Mary. I just went to www.wikipedia.org for this. The Assumption of Mary was defined as dogma by the Catholic Church in 1950 when Pope Pius XII defined it in his Apostolic Constitution. And then it has a big Latin long name that I'm not going to try to pronounce. The Catholic Church itself interprets chapter 12 of the book of Revelation as referring to it. The earliest known narrative is the so-called Liber Requie Mariae, the Book of Mary's Repose, which survives intact only in Ethiopic translation. So only like an Ethiopian Bible containing this Book of Mary remains in history. It's probably composed by the 4th century. This Christian narrative may be as early as the 3rd century. Also quite early are the very different traditions of the 6 books or narratives. So I told you 6 is directly connected to Mary and Mother in general. The earliest versions of this are preserved in several Syriac, like as in Syria, manuscripts of the 5th and 6th century. Also, the text itself probably belongs to the 4th century. Later, based on these earlier texts, include the De Obito es Domine. They keep forcing me into these Latin words by not giving me a warning. Anyway, that's attributed to St. John, a work probably from around the turn of the 6th century that is a summary of the 6 books narrative. This is like a lot of blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for the way that I know the story that Mary was assumed into heaven, body and soul, like Jesus when he ascended, and left behind only her girdle in the tomb. St. Thomas tried to catch up with her, but got there too late, and all he was left was the girdle. I'm trying to quickly scan here with my eyes. Oh, maybe this is it. In some versions of the story, the event is said to have taken place in Ephesus in the house of the Virgin Mary. This is a much more recent and localized tradition. The earliest traditions say that Mary's life ended in Jerusalem. See Mary's tomb. By the 7th century, a variation emerged according to which one of the apostles, often identified as St. Thomas, was not present at the death of Mary, but his late arrival precipitates a reopening of Mary's tomb. Yes, this is the story that I know, which is found to be empty, except for her grave clothes. Okay, it's supposed to be her girdle. In a later translation, here it is. In a later translation, Mary drops her girdle down to the apostle from heaven as a testament to the event. This incident is depicted in many later paintings of the Assumption. Teaching of the Assumption of Mary became widespread across the Christian world, having been celebrated as early as the 5th century and having been established in the East by Emperor Maurice around AD 600. So there's our 6 again. St. John Damascene, I guess John of Damascus, records the following. St. Juvenal, Bishop of Jerusalem, at the Council of Chalcedon, made known to the Emperor Marcian and Pulcheria, who wished to possess the body of the Mother of God, that Mary died in the presence of all the apostles, but that her tomb, when opened upon the request of St. Thomas, was found empty, wherefrom the apostles concluded that the body was taken up to heaven. And that's a snippet of some book. It goes on to continue to talk about it, but basically the Assumption of Mary into heaven is a belief in the Catholic Church as well as the Eastern and Oriental Orthodoxy of the bodily taking up of the Virgin Mary into heaven at the end of her earthly life. This again is from www.wikipedia.org that I'm about to read. The Catholic Church teaches as a dogma that the Virgin Mary, quote, having completed the course of her earthly life, was assumed body and soul into heavenly glory, end quote. The doctrine was dogmatically defined by Pope Pius XII on November 1st in 1950 in the Apostolic Constitution, and then it's a big Latin long name that I'm not going to try to pronounce. And he did this, wrote it there, and decreed it by exercising his papal infallibility. Like he had the right to do so as Pope, basically, is what they're saying. While the Catholic Church and Eastern Orthodox Church believe in the dormition of the Mother of God, the falling asleep of the Mother of God is what that means. They have it in quotes. Whether Mary had a physical death has not been dogmatically defined. In that same long Latin name book, item 39, Pope Pius XII pointed to the book of Genesis 3:15, so there's another 15 or 6, as a scriptural support of the dogma in terms of Mary's victory over sin and death through her intimate association with, quote, the new Adam, end quote. The new Adam is Christ, it says. Also, as reflected in 1 Corinthians 15, another 6 for her, 54, quote, then shall come to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory, end quote. In the churches that observe it, the Assumption is a major feast day commonly celebrated on the 15th of August. In many countries, the feast is also marked as a holy day of obligation in the Roman Catholic Church. Holy day of obligation meaning as if it were Sunday, you are expected to go to church. Moving on to the 15th of Av, which again happens to fall on the 15th and 16th of August this year. For that, I'm going to www.shabbat.org. The 15th of Av, love and rebirth. The 15th of Av is undoubtedly a most mysterious day. A search for the Shulchan Aruch, or Code of Jewish Law, reveals no observances or customs for this date, except for the instruction that the Takanan, confession of sins, and similar portions should be omitted from the daily prayers, as is the case with all festive dates, and that one should increase one's study of Torah, since the nights are beginning to grow longer, and, quote, the night was created for study, end quote. And the Talmud tells us that many years ago, the, quote, daughters of Jerusalem would go dance in the vineyards, end quote, on the 15th of Av, and, quote, whoever did not have a wife would go there, end quote, to find himself a bride. And this was something that King Solomon put together, as I recall, and is spoken about in the books, the Songs of Solomon. And the Talmud considers this the greatest festival of the year, with Yom Kippur, like as a close second. Indeed, the 15th of Av cannot but be a mystery, as the, quote, full moon, end quote, of the tragic month of Av. It is the festival of the future redemption, and thus a day whose essence, by definition, is unknowable to our unredeemed selves. Now, it's ironic that they had full moon mentioned there and in parentheses, because on the same day, again, 22 degrees Aquarius is the full moon in Aquarius. I thought they were going to tell us more about this holiday. If I find something else, I didn't read this first, so it doesn't really explain the festival of the dancing. I thought it was going to talk about that and the maidens and, in Jerusalem, and maybe even mention the story of King Solomon and how it got started. It does not. So if I find something like that before the love reading, I'll read that there. Otherwise, let's get to our cards. So beginning first with the dice, of course. I'm going to start with Eat Cake. Happy birthday to any remaining Leos who are celebrating this week. What's this? The second deacon? Yeah, second deacon Leos. And then you guys got one more week. The 21st is the last day of Leo. Also, other people can be celebrating different things. Going back to school, college, starting something new. I know a client and, / friend of mine who I met on the journey, the client first before she became my friend. She just discovered her love of and interest in crystals, and like all of a sudden is taking an online class, which I think is pretty awesome. So it could be stuff like that too, so congratulations where they're in order, or happy birthday where that's in order. Eat cake. This could also be maybe because of Eid al-Adha. I talked the other day about the Hajj in last week's reading. I talked about the Hajj. It's followed up by Eid al-Adha, which is celebration where we do eat, whereas we had been fasting. On the Hebrew calendar, you might remember last week, we were also fasting because of Tisha B'Av. That was also a time of mourning and fast because it was in recognition of the destruction of the temples. So there's that. So now we're happy. This week we're happy and we're eating cake, right? Also, try again and weekend away. Try again can be anything that, like at first you don't succeed, try again. Anything you feel requires another attempt. Spirit says yes. Buy shoes and sex. Maybe involving the wand. Starting with the Ace of Spring with the Animal Tarot, a wonderful opportunity presents itself. It may have come as a surprise, but you'll still need to leap into action, or you'll still want to at least, and to passionately pursue every possibility. And it looks like we might have a number of possibilities. The Seven of Summer can represent options. So in relation to this opportunity, like which one are you going to pick, or how are you going to go about doing it? You may be conflicted in that regard, right? Needing to figure out how to do or what to do. How to go about this opportunity. It could be courtesy of Jupiter, right? Jupiter going direct, that all of a sudden you're getting this. Speaking of Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius, with the Angel Tarot, I'm beginning with Major Arcana card 19, the Sun, which in the Tarot represents the sign of Sagittarius and the planet Jupiter. Happy outcome. Brilliant new ideas that lead to success if you have confidence in yourself. Of course, Earth's star, the Sun, the actual Sun, rules the sign of Leo, not Sagittarius. But in here, in the Tarot, this card represents Sagittarius first and foremost, and then the other fire signs perhaps. Speaking of suns, we also have still the spiritual sun, Sirius, having risen and directly opposing the actual sun, or facing, in placement, creating the Lion's Gate portal through the 12th, officially. And as I mentioned in my readings that I did last week, I feel that we'll still continue to feel the effects till probably around the 16th. That was my feeling in meditation and whatever I do. Lastly, I'm going to use my Angels of Abundance cards, and beginning with obstacles and blocks are lifted. And I think that could definitely be because, again, Jupiter goes direct, and so the planet of growth and expansion, again, allowing us to grow and expand. behind that, also upright, attracting, not chasing. So using the law of attraction and the law of karma, maybe like Jupiter, to draw things near rather than pushing things away by chasing after them. Face your financial fears. Maybe you have to actually look at your bank account and figure out what needs to be fixed and how to go about doing it. Look at your pay stubs. Are you working enough hours? You're working too many hours? Can you take a break? Can you retire? All that kind of stuff. Also, detox your friendships are some things that are coming up. All right, we'll get more into that in a moment. We're going to start with the Sun and the Angel Tarot. Again, happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success if you have confidence in yourself. Opening from there to Major Arcana card 2, the High Priestess. Listen to your intuition. Have patience and consider carefully what you want before acting. High Priestess, not only does she like observe first and use, her intuition and anything else that's available to her, wisdom, intellect, information that comes to her, whatever. So not only does she use that information, consider it carefully, she also doesn't necessarily tell anybody what she's doing. Sometimes she keeps stuff to herself. She doesn't just wear it on her sleeve and publicly announce everything. And then she decides what she's going to do. In the meantime, she might not do anything, just complete inaction. So that's the energy of the High Priestess. Opening from there to the Eight of Earth. Skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic and maybe even going back to school, like I just talked about, including online classes. Major Arcana card, the Sun. Ooh, okay, we got two here. The first is the Ten of Air, the end of a difficult situation. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. Somebody may even be recovering from an addiction or something else that was toxic, maybe betrayal, disloyalty. But that's okay. Strength is here. All right, Major Arcana card 11, Strength, means that we can face anything that comes our way. And we have the ability to handle it, tackle it. As it relates to finances and career and money, Major Arcana card Strength is a really good omen. It seems to mean that, things are flowing in a positive direction. Great inner strength. Release harsh judgments. Instead, exercise some forgiveness and compassion. It means similar as it relates to love. So now we have this energy of Leo opposite this energy of Sagittarius. So very much a lot of fire, and together, what do they make up? 11, 19. Isn't that cool? Very, very positive. I'll do one more, and it's the Three of Earth. So all about us earning the abundance that's coming our way. Perhaps also having bonded with some people at work or formed some sort of group at work, or maybe met a partner, a romantic partner or something. We met them at our job. Also, this can have to do with parties of three in general. Possibly love triangles, but not necessarily. The power of creativity. Recognition of very high quality work. Be a team player. So on the heels of the Eight of Earth, that's about reaping what you've sown. And then here is the reap, right? Here is the actual reward coming to you. The Sun. And speaking of sixes, I also cut into 6. And that brings us to another 3, Major Arcana card 12, Awakening, which is actually the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. Look at things from a different perspective. You're at a temporary standstill. It's important to be yourself. That means there's a pause. There's an air of suspension. You're in limbo. You feel like you're in limbo. And that's a good time for you to figure out what you really want before the clock starts ticking again. Overall energy is the Seven of Earth. Seeds well planted. A temporary pause in action. Unnecessary worry. Crowning the masculine, the 4 of fire. Awesome. Contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, and the successful completion of a project. You may have remodeled, you may have just moved, you may be wanting to cohabitate. This can be representative of commitment to, even marriage. It's a marriage card. Deepening of commitment. Masculine surrounded by, wow, it's another ace of fire. Right, Ace of Wands. An exciting new opportunity. Career advancement. Change your life now. Of course, it doesn't have to do with career advancement. It can definitely have to do with your home and or family or household. Maybe even, again, a new commitment. Could be a new commitment in the area of work, but it can also be a new commitment in the area of relationship, including romantic relationship and maybe even marriage. Masculine subconscious. The 8 of water. A desire to move on. The search for something more meaningful. Spiritual and emotional growth. So maybe leaving one job for another, leaving a home for another, leaving one relationship for another. Not necessarily jumping from one thing immediately into the next, but, just having let go of whatever was past and moving on to something better. This can also be about ascension and just feeling more at home. In general, home is where the heart is, with yourself, having grown. Again, maybe courtesy of Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, and luck, and dare I say, karma. I don't know why people say it's the planet of luck, really, because if you look at it in terms of the god, Jupiter, he's the god of karma. So, but I don't know. I don't believe in luck, so I always say karma anyway. Anyway, crowning the feminine. The Queen of Air, independent, experienced, realistic and witty, objective decision-making, clearing away all that no longer serves you, and seeing the humor in a situation. The Queen of Air is an Aquarius, like where the moon is going to be full this week. A Gemini or a Libra, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. She's surrounded by the Queen of Fire, confident, warm, intelligent, and graceful. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence and creativity. The Queen of Fire is a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Together, these two cards can be representative of Mercury re-entering Leo. This can be two separate people. This can be the feminine's energy in general, whether she's an air sign or a fire sign or neither. This can be us maybe particularly in the area of communication and or movement in terms of our relationships and our surroundings, cutting things out that don't fit, adding things, that do, is very Queen of Air. Feminine subconscious. The King of Water, trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice. Also charity work, which from my perspective, charity work is unconditional love, because it's giving and or receiving without agenda, just because you want to give or you happily want to receive, with no strings attached. So that's unconditional love. Again, this can be one person's energy. This can be, 3 different characters or a combination of the two. King of Water is a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Could be indicative of the rebirth that's happening with the Jewish holiday, the 15th of Av, or could be connected to Jupiter. Jupiter very tightly connected to the other fixed signs, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. Could just be because the feminine's in the mood for love, as they say. Crowning in general. The 4 of Air. Time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time before making a decision. Meditation may provide answers. The 4 of Air, also a card of restoration, recovery, actual rest and sleep when we need some. For me, maybe connected to planning a vacation. The card said weekend away. This could be thinking, it's time for a vacation. As it relates to work, you might need a break from work. So maybe you want to take, again, a vacation. Relationship, this can be about, I need a break. Doesn't have to be a breakup. It can be temporary. At the root, foundation, The Knight of Air, passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. The Knight of Air, Knight of Air. Fire. Knight of Fire. I don't know why I said air. The Knight of Fire is a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, not unlike the Queen, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. These two can actually be a couple. They're here crossing. Maybe one is younger than the other. And something may have ended between them, giving way to maybe something new with the King of Water, for example, or the Queen of Air. At the heart of the matter, there's the Knight of Air that I kept talking about. How funny is that? The Knight of Air is intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so you can come up with creative solutions. Knight of Air, like the Queen, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Why does it look like there are two couples at the table? And they're both, did you see how they're both crossing one another? And then this King of Water is like a third energy on the side. Like, what's he up to? Let's clarify with the Animal Tarot. In the interest of time, I won't shuffle the Animal Tarot. I'm just going to lay these cards. I mean, of course, I shuffled before I started the reading. But normally I like to do it again in front of you guys. I will not. Or I am not. Crowning the crowning the masculine and atop the Four of Fire is another High Priestess, Major Arcana card 2. This is the time to pause and to reflect, not to take action. Trust in your spiritual gifts, as nothing is hidden from your divine intuition. So it can be, again, with regard to your household, your family, whatever would make you, whatever makes you happy. Moving or something, you could be trying to make a decision and mulling it over. And before you make a move, you are going to want to consult all the information that you have available to you, and then maybe move in silence like a real G, which the High Priestess is. High Priestess is a Gemini for me. Can also in the tarot be a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Atop the Ace of Fire, the Prince of Summer, romantic, flirtatious, introspective, and enchanting. A deeply emotional and probably romantic experience will sweep you off your feet. Things can move very quickly during such whirlwind encounters, so stay balanced and make decisions with both your heart and your intellect. So this can definitely be the start of a new relationship, and maybe specifically the start of a new romantic relationship with the Ace of Fire, or the restart, right? Love renewed, love anew, with somebody with whom you're familiar. Maybe you dated before, maybe you didn't, but like you know them. It's quite possible that you know them with the Prince of Summer or Knight of Cups. The Prince of Summer or Knight of Cups is a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Atop the Eight of Water. And this is a very spiritual card. Like I said, it could be about growth and ascension. It's here partnered with Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit. Take time for contemplation, to retreat and to go within. Be a beacon for others on their path of spiritual enlightenment as well. So these cards, especially together, are very much about spirituality and the masculine on a deeper level of thought. And maybe that's why he's also in connected right now to this energy of the High Priestess as well. And he's going to be very, very, very in tune, I feel, this week. And should absolutely pay attention to that and to use that to his benefit in making his decisions, and maybe in how he spends his time too. Getting meditation in. There may be some epiphanies, there may be some dreams, Also I'm getting where, like aha moments. You might want to keep masculine if you don't already, a piece of paper, a pen, maybe even a journal by your bed, so that when you wake up, you can write these things down right away, so that you don't forget them as the day progresses. We tend to like forget the dreams or important details. Crowning the feminine, atop the Queen of Air is the 9 of Air, the 9 of Winter. So there's some worry there, maybe for a Queen of Air. Your worries and fears aren't real, though. They're fueled by focusing on the negative, which gives power to that of which you're afraid. Stop worrying, let go of fear, and everything will be okay. That may be in connection with the Aquarius full moon, because the full moons in general are about letting go. They're about endings, and that can be scary, right? That can make us fearful. Some of us might also just need some sleep, because now we have this 9 of Winter sitting next to what is also the 4 of Winter, or Swords, right? 9 of Winter or 9 of Swords and 4 of Swords. Both of those cards can be about the need for rest. So for some of us, you're just not getting enough sleep, or you need to lay down, right? You're doing too much, as they say. For others, there's something that of which we need to let go, and there's a full moon in this picture. That's definitely like supporting what I was feeling. It's giving me like little tingles. It may be something having to do with a relationship with this water that's in the picture too, and this like lone seal. He looks like he feels trapped, right? There's no way out for him, and like he has no support, he has no body, and it's emotional with all this water. So something, you're going to have to figure out what it is, and it's going to be different for everybody that's watching a general reading, a collective reading, obviously. But something which the feminine needs to let go, that she should use this opportunity of the Aquarius full moon to do so. So that's the 15th of the month, towards the end of this week. Atop the Queen of Fire, the 3 of Summer. And it's mirroring the Prince of Summer. Remember I said the Prince of Summer could be somebody coming back, somebody that you know already? Well, that can be what the 3 of Summer is for me too. Reunions, or being social, getting together with people. Celebrations, maybe because we did get back together already. We're happy, we're hanging out. You have an exciting reason to celebrate, such as an engagement, wedding, graduation, or a birth announcement. Remember to cherish those you love. Feminine subconscious, atop the King of Water is Major Arcana card 12, Awakenings, another Hangman. So even though I didn't shuffle again, we're still getting like the same cards repeated from the first time I went around. Look at things in a different way, and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily. Things will soon start moving again. So this is here in your mind. Could be an actual King of Water on your mind. Maybe, somebody about whom you have some emotional and or romantic feelings, and maybe there's no movement, and maybe that's why you're afraid. Maybe you haven't heard from this person, or they want to see you again, and you're afraid. You don't know how that's going to go, so that's why you're nervous. But while there's an air of suspension, while there's a pause, while there's an opportunity, or maybe, your partner asked you for a break, and that's what the 4 of Swords is here. And so that's what has you not only worried, but feeling like stuck in limbo, like what's going to happen between us. Use that time to figure out what your feelings are and what your desires are, right, while you in that moment. Atop that 4 of Swords, the Princess of Spring. Energetic, outgoing, optimistic, and creative. Creative opportunities that you feel passionate about are fluttering your way. Personal growth and broadened horizons will spark fresh and original ideas. The Princess of Spring is a Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, or someone like into those traits or attributes, maybe younger than you. Could be a child. Could be a child. Maybe somebody's having a baby, a third, a Leo child. Or learning that they're pregnant. Maybe that's what the fear is about. Expanding your family. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and growth. Expanding your family, growing your family, that can be scary. But unnecessary worry. Atop the Knight of Fire, the Ace of Autumn. You can expect a windfall of abundance, such as money, timely assistance, a serendipitous meeting, or rewarding advice. You may be offered a fabulous new job or promotion, or the prospect of a profitable business venture or investment. While atop the Knight of Fire, or Knights make proposals, and the Knight of Fire or Wands, right, that element is making a proposal of some sort of opportunity. So it could be a new job, it could be, again, a lucrative investment, it could be a relationship, right? Enter this commitment with me, we're going to go the distance, we're going to be lifelong, nothing can stop us, we're going to be abundant together, we'll create abundance together, we'll work together, we'll live together, we'll love together, all of that kind of stuff. Very, very positive. At the heart of the matter, atop the Knight of Air and this very quick energy, perhaps that's going to come in, release. So, how Uranus retrograde is this? Right? I said something would abruptly come in and push change everything. And I said it's going to feel very Knight of Air. There's not much bigger, I don't think there is bigger change reflected in the tarot than the energy of Major Arcana card 13, Death, which is about transformation or change, right? Transition, endings also. It's time to release the past and to move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a brighter future. And we've got proof of that right here, which is a really positive thing. How many aces have we seen? 3, right? 2 aces of wands and the ace of pentacles. So we're seeing what happens when something ends. Already the beautiful fresh energy that comes in. Major Arcana card 13, release or death, represents the sign of Scorpio, which again, this Prince of Summer or King of Cups that's here may also be a Scorpio. Further to this, some of the ones that we had questions on, I'm just going to also clarify from a perspective of the angel of abundance to what it might be connected. So I'll put one here. I'll put one here with this worry, the feminine. Put one here where we're feeling limbo and a need to sort of figure something out, looking for enlightenment, looking for clarity. And I'll put one here. So atop that very positive energy of the 4 of Wands for the masculine and the High Priestess, where it looked like he had something he needed to figure out. Moonlighting. You can start working on your dream career, right? The thing that's going to make you super happy and joyous and feeling fulfilled and like you have a solid foundation on which to stand. You can start working on that part-time while keeping your other job to pay the bills. Soon, your dream career will take flight and fully support you. I'm laughing because down here I said I felt something about dreams, right, for the masculine. So maybe it's the career of his dreams that he wants, the business that he wants to create for himself, or the other job that he wants. You can start that job. You don't have to let go of your job and risk your foundation, right? Continue to maintain yourself with your salary, but also look into doing something additional that you want to do. Atop this energy of, again, spiritual growth, enlightenment, clarity, dreams perhaps, that he was seeking, is unlimited ideas. Yes, your mind is one with God's infinite mind. This is the position of the mind in my readings, right? How awesome is that? Therefore, you have complete access to unlimited ideas, guaranteed to bring blessings. All you need to do, rather, is to take divinely guided action, right, from the High Priestess. And allow these ideas to come to fruition. Boom. So that's your ticket, masculine. Your ticket to success. Crowning the feminine atop the Queen and 9 of Swords. Do the work. Right? So you got to cut something out or add something to in order to make yourself better. Right? That's what do the work must mean to me in connection to the Queen of Swords. But let's see what it says here. It's not enough to dream or to pray. You've also got to take the positive action steps that you're being divinely guided to take. Consistently working on your priorities will make them flourish like a lush flower garden. So I'm getting also, if particularly a Queen of Swords is worried about her manifestation or lack thereof, there's something that you're not actually doing. Like you're just, like when, unfortunately, when we've had terrorist activity around the country, United States, people pray and it's like, well, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and many have gotten fed up with that. Like, thoughts and prayers are not enough. Even the Bible, right, the scriptures say that prayers without works is dead. Like, that doesn't do anything. So you got to put the effort behind those words, and that's how manifestation works too. You need the idea, you need the focused intent, and then you need to take the action that you're divinely guided to take too, right? So do the work, feminine. And here atop the Hangman, which represents the sign of Pisces, and the King of Water, which may very well be a Pisces, is declutter, which is something that's up here, right? That's what the Queen of Air does. She clears away all that no longer serves her. She declutters. So that's the work that you got to do. Maybe you've been hesitating from doing it. You've been trying to avoid it. It's time. So while you're in this space of feeling like nothing's happening and you're in limbo, perfect time to get to this. You'll feel better and more focused if you take the time to clear away clutter from your living and workspace. Donate what you can to help others. Donate. What did I say about the King of Water? Charity, right? He's a giver. He gives and or receives without agenda. Donate what you can to help others who may need your items. And be sure to keep your schedule uncluttered as well, like your life uncluttered. At the heart of the matter, atop Major Arcana card Death and the Knight of Swords, quiet retreat. It's time to disconnect from the outer world so that you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings. Thoughts, ideas, feelings, that's all air. But they're scattered, right? They're fast. You're anxious about it. So you need to pause and take some time to yourself. You need that break, right? You need that break to think, to meditate, to pray, to recover. You want to be able to discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from your outer world. Create this quiet time for yourself, and you'll have more clarity about what to do next. So this week, it would seem, is about all of the many wonderful opportunities that are coming our way and how and what to do about them. And they can be in any area of your life, obviously. Relationships, career, education. We've seen it all here. And I think have gotten some pretty clear instruction as to how to proceed. Further advice to the masculine: stop worrying about what had happened, because it's going to, it's coming to an end, that energy of difficulty and negativity. Whatever was, remember, obstacles are lifted. Here's evidence again of that. It's the end of a career path, project, or relationship, and that brings feelings of mixed joy and sadness, relief and disappointment. Try to put aside these fears, though, and about the changes, and trust that a brighter future awaits. So we also talked about that happening this week, that Uranus retrograde was going to force changes, but they'd be good changes. Ultimately, they'll be good changes. For the feminine, Major Arcana card 14, Balance or Temperance, which also represents the sign of Sagittarius, more Jupiter. By merging varying points of view, you can generate an extraordinary new idea. Compromise with others and collaborate to discover a better solution. There could be some relationships coming together, and maybe quite a few May-December relationships, as they call them, younger and older, or some other, what you feel is a major difference between you that you weren't able to work out before. Maybe that's why the Prince of Summer, like I said, somebody returning, coming back, somebody you know already. Maybe that's what Try Again with the dice was about too. It doesn't have to necessarily be romantic, because this is a general, maybe some other sort of relationship that you tried and it didn't work. You had some sort of difficulty. It could even be familial or friends. Because of your differences, something went awry. And this is an opportunity to try again and to heal that relationship and to come together despite your differences, like the zebra's stripes, right? Black and white working together to make a beautiful thing. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, the Six of Earth, which for me is very Venus, so very Taurus, right? With all this Earth here, it's like all three of her signs. Here's the scales of balance for Libra, right? Then I see like a lot of scattered, crazy looking air in the background. To me, that's Gemini, the other sign that she rules. And then all the Earth, of course, is Taurus, where Uranus is and will be when it goes retrograde and will remain for another 7 years. Gifts of money, time, or effort, new career opportunities, and receiving a loan rather, or paying off debts. The Six of Earth for me is about unconditional love, the energy of giving and or receiving. It's about exchange, so it can be romantic. It can be between strangers. Again, giving of ourselves without agenda, accepting without agenda, the ability to do both or either, right? Because a lot of us are givers, but we have trouble receiving, or vice versa. This is also like assistance coming your way from the universe, where there was some sort of difficulty, a problem in your life. All of a sudden, something opens up, something changes, and assistance comes your way. What assistance is coming your way? Maybe Uranus, again, retrograde. Maybe Jupiter going direct. That's the assistance. Something is coming through, like a karmic energy is going to give way to something, some sort of affordability, some sort of help to you. It could be a scholarship, it could be a loan, it could be a new credit card, it can be whatever. A new opportunity to, more work, more hours for a second job, doing what you love, doing what you're interested in, to start your own business, to, restart a relationship, try again. Some sort of assistance coming in the energy of exchange. Free and even exchange without agenda. From the Angel Tarot to the feminine, the Page of Earth, scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Good news about financial matters. Also wanting to do something more challenging, like maybe going back to school or something. And yeah, a new area of study, like crystals maybe. The Page of Earth is a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes, and may actually be another character that's at play here. As a court card, it can be an actual person in your life, maybe even a direct earth sign. And lastly, from the Angels of Abundance to the masculine, specifically, your advice: have courage to ask for and to accept help, giving and receiving. Asking for help is a sign of strength, as is accepting it as it is offered to you. Very often when you ask God for help, prayers are answered through other people. Be sure to accept this assistance, as well as to give it to others as you are guided. And maybe some guidance may come to you to make an exchange, for you to be the giver. And lastly, feminine for us, block out distractions. This is also very Queen of Air. Your life purpose and other priorities need your undivided attention. So it's time for you to take charge of your schedule and your working environment by turning off electronics and avoiding anyone or anything that distracts you from what's important. You already know what these distractions are, and you have the power to responsibly block them out. I hope that you guys have found this helpful and that you've enjoyed it. I think a lot is going to have to do with love, and I look forward to seeing what pops up in the love reading. Thank you again for joining, liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel, and for being here with me today, and hopefully joining me for the chatting, the live chatting in the premiere. I look forward to it. Namaste.